Let's talk about the ongoing dispute between the United States and China regarding the rare earth minerals. Yesterday, October 10th, Chinese Ministry of Commerce made the announcement that foreign companies will need to obtain special approvals from Beijing if they want to export rare earth magnets and certain semiconductor materials that have at least 0.1% heavy rare earth metals from China. Trump is clearly very upset about this. He said that this whole thing is out of blue, very unfriendly of China. Is it really out of blue? So let's do a recap to see how we get here. On May 16th and 17th, the US and Chinese trade delegations in Geneva agreed to freeze the tariff war. Basically put a 10% tariffs on each side and freeze this tariff war for 90 days. And then August 11th, both sides agreed to extend to another 90 days, which will expire November 10th. The understanding is that is it, that the two sides are going to keep it as it is, no more sanctions or increase of tariffs or anything until the final deal is reached. But on September 3rd, the Department of Treasury's Office of Foreign Asset Control, OFAC, sanctioned two Chinese chemical companies, accusing them of involving in manufacture and the sale of synthetic opiates to the United States. On September 10th, the U.S. Trade Representatives, the USTR, announced that the United States would impose port fees on Chinese-built, owned, or operated vessels docking at the U.S. ports, meaning they're going to start charging fees for Chinese-built, owned, or operated vessels starting from October 14th. And the fee starts with zero and gradually increase until it reached $140 per ton in subsequent years. September 14th to 15th, the US and Chinese delegations met again in Madrid, and the negotiations continues. And then on September 20th, Xi Jinping and Trump had a phone call. They agreed that they're going to meet at the end of this month, October 31st and November 1st, during the APEC summit in Seoul, South Korea. And then on September 25th, the Bureau of Industry and Security, BIS, expanded the ban on those two chemical companies, not only the company themselves, but their affiliates or any entities that they own more than 50%. At this point, China issued a statement protesting. Last week, on October 8th and 9th, the US government sanctioned additional 24 Chinese companies in two separate rounds of action. The reasons for the sanctions include supplying drone technology to Iranian proxies and engaging in trade that supports Iran's energy sector. Notice it's not to supplying drone technology to Iran, but to Iran proxies, which means the organizations and countries that affiliated with Iran in the Middle East. Trump himself also announced that he plans to ban Chinese airlines from flying over Russia. Now, this one is absolutely ridiculous because we know the reason the US airlines cannot fly over Russia, which Trump sees as unfair competition, is because the US banned Russian airlines from flying over the United States. And that's when Russia banned the US airlines from flying over Russia. And China never banned Russian airlines from flying over China. That's why Chinese airlines can fly over Russia. So this is a dispute between the United States and Russia. It has nothing to do with China. If Trump thinks this is unfair, only thing Trump needs to do is to allow Russian airlines to fly over the US airspace. But instead, now Trump is going to punish Chinese airlines for being allowed to fly over Russia airspace. So all these things lead to 24 hours later, October 10th, China fought back. China imposes retaliatory port fees on American ownership docking in China, sanctioned 14 US and Canadian military companies and put them into unreliable entity list, started antitrust probe into Qualcomm, and then the last, tightening control of the rare earth minerals. And the rare earth minerals is very important for both military industry and AI chips industry. And that's when Trump got really upset and wrote multiple postings on his account on Truth Social. Trump also, during his press conference, told everybody that he's very surprised because this is out of the blue. He said he discussed this with Bessent and Lutnick. Clearly, none of them see it's coming. As you can see, this is not out of blue. It is out of blue for Trump because Trump wasn't prepared for this. He thought he could keep on creating troubles, even though both sides has agreed to freeze the tariff war. But he's not increasing the tariffs, but sanction after sanction after sanction, finding different reasons for that without verification, without providing any proof, without any basis. He just kept on sanctioning Chinese companies, and China simply had it. This is a very typical, not just Trump, but the US government negotiation tactic. Even though both sides agreed that they're going to continue negotiation and trying to figure out a sustainable solution for both sides, Trump continues to create trouble to punish Chinese companies. His purpose is to increase the bargaining chips for the United States and to have more leverage in the negotiation. That's very clear. In the past, not just China, but all the countries in the world pretty much accepted this. But this time, China decided that China is not going to accept whatever Trump is doing because it's not just one thing, it's multiple occasions and multiple companies, one after another, by the Trump administration to hurt Chinese business. So China simply said that that's enough, and China fought back. When China fought back, China doesn't want it just symbolic. It really wants to hurt because China wants to make a statement that this is not acceptable. If you're going to negotiate with me, you should negotiate with me in good faith, not using these kind of tactics to artificially, manually increase your bargaining chips. You can do that. I can do that too. China can increase its bargaining chips too. So that is something Trump unprepared for. Trump used to that the United States can just get away with all this. Trump is not used to that China fought back and fought back hard. That's why he felt this is out of blue. Trump also said that this policy is not just against the United States, but against the whole world. Well, because today's world, everything's linked. United States signed rare earth collaborations with Pakistan and Russia. And China has been working closely with both those two countries in the rare earth mineral area. So China has to tighten control for those countries too. Last month, there was also an incident. Poland temporarily closed its border between Poland and Belarus because there was a military drill between Russia and Belarus. And Poland used that as an excuse to close that border, which stopped the China-Europe trains from entering Poland, thereby stopped the train. One of the things that Poland asked for some rare earth minerals, and Wang Yi visited Poland and agreed to provide some, but very limited amount. Poland agreed to reopen the border, but as soon as Wang Yi left, Poland closed the border again. Clearly want to ask for more rare earth minerals. And many speculated that the United States is behind this. And China just said, no, you're not going to get any. And that's when Poland quickly reopened the border again. As you can see, this has become a real problem for the United States, the rare earth mineral problems, because, like I said, it's affected two very important sectors, the military and the AI chips industry. United States government problem is that it never understand if you need something from someone, you need to sit down as equal, negotiate and trade. There is always a trade-off. What you need, what your opposing side need, you can do exchange and trade. But the United States only believe in bullying. The only thing that the United States knows what to do when the United States needs something is to grab it, to rob the country, and to bully the country into giving you what the United States wants. And China said no to it, which is rare and which is shocking to Trump and to Bessent and to Lutnick. But this has been the norm for the United States for a long time. And China put a stop to it. And they are surprised that China react so strongly. AI and chips is where the United States believe it still holds a certain advantage over China. But if the rare earth doesn't being provided to this industry and pulled to stop the productions of chips, that will definitely hurt the chips industry and the AI industry. And that will give China the time to catch up, which China is already catching up fast. Any people, under that circumstance, you would think the United States should learn to treat somebody with respect on equal terms. But no, Trump instead threatened now to impose 100% tariffs for China for all the Chinese goods starting November 1st. And also banning some high-end software exporting to China, which certainly will not hurt China much at all. It's just his way of threatening China when he's now run out of options. Let's see if he's putting all those threats into action, starting with charging the high port fee for all the Chinese vessels and ships. And then November 1st, 100% tariffs. It will have huge consequences. That's why the stock market reacted strongly on Friday. The last thing I want to share with you is just there's lots of discussions regarding this topic, and many people in the comment sectors pointed out that actually China should be the one to receive this year's Nobel Peace Prize, because by tightly control the rare earth minerals, it stopped or at least delayed many of the arms production, and thereby it's good for peace. Like this one, China getting Nobel Peace Prize stop wars by not selling rare earth to the biggest troublemaker. I would go as far to say this is an international security measure, not just a national security, by restricting rare earth to the warmongering machine that is US, Israel, China is making the world a much safer place. Go China. This is why I say the Communist Party of China should be one getting the prize. Their policy of restricting rare earth export have single-handedly crippled the US MIC, making war much harder for the US to conduct directly, increasing world peace. This will save lives globally, especially for people in countries that don't have good defenses. So the Chinese action is being applauded by people around the world. The effect of the rare earth mineral tightening the control is it delays and in some incidents stop the arms producing, which is good for peace for all of us. I'll continue to be monitoring the situation and give you update whenever I can. If you like my program, please hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you.